I have a lot of sympathy for people that are addicted to ZA because I feel that very few people recognize an addiction to ZA as a legitimate addiction. I have seen people ruin their lives over their addiction to Schweed. Ruin their lives. We discuss addiction through a hierarchical lens, and that hierarchical lens is a result of us recognizing that certain drugs are stronger than others, more addictive than others, harder to stop than others. An addiction to H is obviously going to look very different than an addiction to ZA. But because we see addiction through this pyramid of severity, with substances like H and Fent at the top and ZA at the bottom, there's a lack of stigma trickling down to the bottom that creates a myriad of issues for people that have any kind of dependency or struggle with the substances at the bottom. Now, to be clear, as someone who has been addicted to hard drugs, it's always been harder for me to stop that than to put down the cart. But with that statement alone, some pothead is out here watching this video saying, well, I don't have a problem then. It's not that hard. I can quit any day. And to be a real addiction advocate, you have to be able to flip the script and recognize that the experiences you've had with certain substances are not applicable to everyone, right? I can sit here and say, okay, my DOC is always speed. Something that gets me really revved up and excited. I have preferred that for almost a decade of my life. That's part of the reason why I can make this video and say it was always easier for me to put down the cart, right? Whereas someone else that is not Chloe Ferrero, maybe has different brain chemistry, struggles with different things, has some kind of mental illness that doesn't run in my family, the cart is going to be so much harder for them to put down. There are people that are perma-fried every single day of their lives, and they don't see it as a big deal. Their loved ones are choosing not to see it as a big deal because sometimes it's really uncomfortable to acknowledge that something that we perceive as casual and fun can stop being casual and fun. People develop insane eating disorders in all kinds of directions because of their addiction to ZA. People lose their jobs because of their consumption habits. Relationships fall apart because one person is present and the other is not, but it's totally fine because the dispo sells it, so there can't be an issue, right? It reminds me of how a lot of people's alcoholism will slip under the radar because we have normalized the overconsumption of alcohol and kind of learned to perceive it as a socially acceptable coping mechanism. Your friend that has a bottle of wine 5 days out of the week after work is an alcoholic, right? In the same way that your friend that cannot be sober because he just loves ZA and it makes him peaceful, like that's not a coping mechanism, that is a full-blown addiction. Now, I say all of this and I still think that anyone who is in prison for a ZA-related charge should be set free. It's a complicated conversation. I just hope that this message lands on the right person's lap. It's okay to acknowledge that you have a problem and there actually is light at the end of the tunnel. And it doesn't have to be the blinking of your cart.